I made that so wrong. Nope. One brave robot versus 8 androids bent on the destruction and conquering of the world. This is the formula that cemented this blue automaton into popular culture. This week is all about Mega Man, aka the Blue Bomber. So, charge those buster cannons and get ready for Hero Unlocked. BAM! Mega Man, as we know him today, is the brainchild of Akira Kitamura and Keiji Inafune. During the character's development, he went through several different names such as Mighty Kid and Knuckle Kid. Well, at the end of the day, Capcom decided that Rockman would be the character's Japanese name. The rock in Rockman referred to the musical genre of rock and roll. This is evidenced by Mega Man's sister being named Roll. Another interesting factoid is that Inafune intended for Mega Man's suit to be white, but felt as though blue would be better suited to highlight the character's different animations. What's more, the NES had a lot more variety when it came to blues than other colors, so there's that. The development team for the initial release only had about 6 members allocated to the project. Inafune, being a character designer, was responsible not only for designing almost all the characters within the game, but he had to make the sprites for them as well. Other works from him included, but were not limited to, the designs and sprite work for various enemies within the first game, as well as several robot masters. Inafune stated that his favorite was actually Elecman, for some reason. The first game, though seen in a positive light, definitely didn't fly off the shelves. Though it sold enough in Japan to be worthy of a port overseas, the game had several hurdles to overcome. Given an extremely short deadline for localization, Capcom USA had the cover of the North American release rushed. This is where we get the infamous North American cover art from Mega Man 1. Many people believe that this was a major factor in the game's poor sales in the US, as it wasn't representative of the game. It barely, look at that. It's disgusting. Although the first game was seen as selling rather poorly, Capcom said, hey, we'll try this again, and try again they did with Mega Man 2. Mega Man 2 was released in December of 1988. Everything from the previous game was essentially improved on except for the character sprites. I mean, how could you not love that face? The game was given 8 Robot Masters this time, as well as several things that made the game a bit more accessible. This would include certain item drops, as well as multiple difficulties. This game fared much better in the public eye. It even became the highest selling of the original Mega Man games. So, it makes sense that many people consider this to be the best Mega Man game ever. But let's be real, those people just haven't played Mega Man Soccer. So don't ever let anyone tell you that sequels suck, because Capcom don't play that Street Fighter 2, Resident Evil 2, and Mega Man 2. The following 4 games had rather incremental improvements. They retained the 8 Robot Master boss counts as well as the rock, paper, scissors system. There were a few notable character inclusions that occurred, however. This included the robot bird Beat and Mega Man's dog, Rush. This even spawned a feature in a later game in which Rush and Mega Man could do some sort of fusion dance and become like a weird dog-android hybrid. Mega Man finally made his way into the 16-bit era with Mega Man X, but that's a different Mega Man, so f*** it. About a year later, as the public, we were given Mega Man 7 in America back in 1995. Many Mega Man fans have an issue with this. Hell, even the developers have issues with this game. But this all may be for a reason. The development team on this game only had about 3 months to work on it. This was the first and last mainline Mega Man game to hit the console, which I think is a little off-putting. I actually really like this one, but don't tell anyone because I don't think I'm allowed to say that. I think this game is really a victim of multiple things. Yes, it had a short development time, but I mean the game worked. It is very much Mega Man. I think this was a victim of its release time. Coming out after Mega Man X did not do this game any favors. Coming off such an action-packed and fluid evolution of the franchise made Mega Man 7 look a bit dull and frankly less mature than X. Not to mention less balanced. After the series' producer left Capcom, Inafune took the reins and became the producer of Mega Man 8. Mega Man 8 was a very deep breath of fresh air. Seeing its way onto the North American PlayStation and Sega Saturn in 1997, the game made great strides for the series while also holding it back. And here's what I mean. Visually, the mainline games were not known for their graphics, but 8 really upped things in that department. So much as to even add animated cutscenes to the game. Created by Zebek, the cutscenes in the game took on an anime aesthetic. The North American version of the game was a bit special, however. Here, take a listen and see if you can hear it. It's very subtle.
But where is Dr. Wily?
That's a good question. We may be able to locate another energy emission from the radar room. When we find that meteor, we'll find Dr. Wily.
Give these people some freaking Oscars!
To be honest, I don't think this one's a bad game either. Aside from the voice acting and some level of design choice, I think this game's actually one of the best of the later games. The colors were bright and vivid, the performance was tight and well realized. Frankly, people oftentimes just have a hard time dealing with change. And this was a lot to deal with when it comes to change. So naturally, the next two titles in the mainline series went back to the NES aesthetic because we don't want to move forward. No, progress is for punks. No, but I can definitely see why the series went back to its simplistic art style of the past games. Inafune has been cited as saying that it was actually the Virtual Console that basically gave the development team the go-ahead to make Mega Man 9 the way it was. Seeing how popular older style games were with the service as well as how much people were willing to pay for them was a definite motivation. What's more, we were given the first female robot master in Splash Woman, which is pretty darn cool. Rinse and repeat and you've got yourself Mega Man 10, another retro-inspired take on Mega Man. This time incorporating an easy mode as an answer to people's complaints that Mega Man 9 got too difficult. Now you're probably saying, wow Delapo, development is great at all, but what about the lore? So it turns out that Mega Man himself suffers greatly from Batman syndrome. I've affectionately coined this phrase as a way to describe someone who knows that the easiest and safest way to end calamity is just off the freaking villain. But blah blah blah, ideals, blah morality, blah we're no better than the bad guys nonsense, blah. You see, it started like this. Back in 2000-something with an X, Dr. Light and Dr. Wily were both prolific scientists in the field of robotics. Dr. Light worked tirelessly to bring about the creation of humanoid robots that would take on industrial purposes in order to better the lives of humanity. And also destroying several hundreds of thousands of jobs, but you know, for humanity. Dr. Wily, playing the role of jealous second fiddle during these endeavors, became jaded by the attention that Light was getting, and like any rationally minded individual, reprogrammed the 6 industrial robots in order to take over the world. But Mega Man wasn't having any of that. He asked Dr. Light to turn him into a badass fighting robot in order to defeat the other robot masters, and he does that, and then he does it again, and again, and again. Dr. Wily begs for mercy and Mega Man gives it to him every time, like a freaking chump! Except one time. That's right, in Mega Man 7, Mega Man says he's finally had enough and is ready to ice this fool, but just before he can, Bass's dog, Treble, saves Wily from his demise. Bass then shows up, quotes Joseph Addison, like a real badass, and yeets out of there. So it took Mega Man 7 full games to get over his Batman syndrome. That's pretty impressive. So yes, the series follows a very redundant flow of events. Basically, Wily makes robots, Mega Man beats robots, Mega Man confronts Wily, and Wily escapes. Hell, even after 8 years of Mega Man's silence, the 11th game still follows this formula. As with many characters on Hero Unlock, there is a comic book series. Put together by Archie Comics, the same people who gave us quite a few Sonic the Hedgehog comics, the series aimed to tell a deeper and sometimes more fanciful version of the events of the video games. In the first 8 issues, the events of the first game were told. This included elements from the Mega Man 1 remake, Mega Man Powered Up. This was done as to bring in the characters from that game, Time Man and Oil Man. Issues 17 and 18 deal with Proto Man's background. And if you don't know, Proto Man is like the Racer X of the Mega Man series. And if you don't know who Racer X is, shame on you. Shame on all ya houses! The comic books even went as far as to have an Infinity War. That's right, characters from Sonic, Monster Hunter, Panzer Dragoon, and Beautiful Joe all made their way into Worlds Unite. Because continuity be damned! Aside from being arguably the most annoying character in Captain N, Mega Man also had his own TV show. This was yet again an adaptation of the events of the video games. Airing in 1994, the Mega Man cartoon went on for 2 seasons before getting cancelled. This wasn't a quality issue, however, the show actually had pretty high ratings. Nevertheless, Capcom pulled the plug on it. There are many spin-offs when it comes to the franchise, the Mega Man X games, Battle Network, Legends, and more, but it always comes back to what made the franchise so great: solid gameplay. Yes, the stories may have varying qualities, but it's all about that game. I can't tell you if there are many platform shooters that control as well as Mega Man. With the release of the 11th game, and doing well at that, it's not hard to believe that even more numbered games are coming. I value the idea that fans were generally pleased with the graphical direction, because I think the games of going retro for retro's sake are long over. And that's okay, because progress isn't dangerous, people. Outside of these games, Mega Man is still very much around. He's now a recurring character in the Super Smash Bros. Series, so that's 2 fighting games. I mean, he must really like to rumble, am I right? But where would I like to see him go next? Well, honestly, nowhere. I think his place as a platformer has really shown that the genre can still garner attention. While I do believe that his 2D days are numbered, I think he's still in a pretty good spot right now. There are so many spin-off characters from his franchise that Mega Man can stay right where he is and be comfortable. although I don't think I turned my nose up at the idea of Mega Man Soccer 2019.
Here's to hoping. Stay perfect.